up, everyone? First off, I know it's been a hot minute, but just taking that view, so beautiful. And it's a little bit windy, so I might actually go inside. Something I want to talk to you about today that is going to change your life forever. It is actually a fascinating concept that could be pretty powerful. By the way, this is a home where we host retreats, private retreats here. It's where we live. And if you're interested in having a group 1 to 4 people, hit me up. Check out the link below. Let's see if I can get down on here. I wonder if I'll. Yeah. Oh, is that good? All right. I'm gonna stand up. Okay, let's stand. I like to stand. Standing's good. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, I used to have a teacher, someone that I learned from musically, and she was a very intuitive singer. And her concept around singing was actually like, step 1 is first feel free. And I just love that concept, and something that I've, in a lot of ways brought into my life in many different ways. So the standard way of thinking about things for most people is do all this stuff, do all these practices, learn all these things, achieve all these things, grow, I'll do all this stuff, and then one day hopefully I'll be free, right? So we think we do things if I get a good job, if I make a lot of money, if I da-da-da-da. Now I say it's actually the opposite. Step 1 is to feel free. And that might seem contradictory because you're like, well, how am I supposed to feel free? I have money troubles, I have, stress issues, I have self-confidence issues, all these things, which of course makes sense, perfect sense. However, if you realize that the first thing you should be focusing on is finding a sense of freedom within yourself, well, then all that other stuff starts to take care of itself. So I wanted to talk about this concept as a way to help you just understand, maybe a piece of your life that doesn't fully make sense, but in this context, it can totally shift everything and actually give you a great sense of empowerment. And the coolest part is that when you actually go into this stuff, when you actually go inward, things start to shift drastically because you're not coming from this sense of lack, you're coming from this sense of freedom. So, yes, you can spend your life and you can try to learn things and do things, and that's great, but if you do it from a sense of freedom first, right? So when I was living, in Brooklyn and going through, there was recession and all this stuff was happening, I started to see all my friends, they were losing their jobs and they were freaking out and they were having all these issues. And, I was actually looking around, I'm like, I'm living this great life. I have literally I'm like just enough money to survive, but I'm doing the things that I love, and I'm finding this sense of freedom and peace within myself. And what that does is when you develop that, you actually develop a sort of a lens through your own embodiment where you're starting to live a life. Hey, Bigu. What's up, Bigu? Yeah? Huh? Want to say hi to Bigu? Nice. Look at this guy. How cute he is. So what happens is when you start to focus more on the freeness within yourself, go down, you realize that there's no external thing that's ever going to provide you the stuff that you're looking for. And, we all know the thing. It's like, oh, money can't buy happiness. But we say it, but then we're still like, well, I need money and I'm stressed out. And if I don't have money, and money provides freedom and all these things. And yes, in a lot of ways, money, as an example, absolutely does. So I'm not saying don't work and just give up your hopes and ambitions, but recognize that if you can find a stillness and a peace and an understanding within yourself first, well then, from that place, everything else makes more sense. Because when we're just doing stuff from lack and desiring to have more, we're just grasping and grasping and grasping and grasping at the external. But when we focus first, we turn inward, and we find our own sense of freedom and our own sense of peace within ourselves first, well, then you do those things, and then it's like, yeah, sure, if you want money, if you want things and grow, build businesses and stuff, cool. So if you're in a place right now where you're struggling and you're lost and you're confused, and I'm like, I don't really know what to do, I'm trying to find my passion, I'm trying to figure out my life, I'm financially stressed, whatever it might be, take some time to turn inward and recognize that, the you that thinks it's you doesn't actually exist. So I talk about this in my books, which of course I give away always for free, to share this information. But the general concept of all my books, they're all different mediums. One's about being barefoot, one's about cooking, one's about music. But they all share the same underlying theme of looking at who you think you are and pulling off the false mask, taking off the layers of the falseness within you. And it's not a simple process, but it's very easy in a sense. What I should say is it's simple, but not easy is what I mean. There's a simplicity to it, but it doesn't mean it's easy to take off those layers because they're shrouded in lots of fear, right? And we have lots of deep conditioning. But the more we look at ourselves and our beliefs, the more we can see that they're put on us, they're plagued on us from elsewhere, from family, from parents, from society, all these things. They just dump all these beliefs and fears and ideas on us. And then we start seeing the world from this place of fear. And okay, I'm not good enough, or in order to have this, I need da da da, right? So what I say is, rather than trying to get all those things that you think you need, because you know externally they're never actually going to fulfill you, first find a way to feel free within yourself. And the process of that is looking at your beliefs. Whether that be through journaling. Journaling is a great way. And I'm not saying like, oh, today I went to the store, but journaling as like, a flaming sword of truth of what do I know to be sure to be true? What do I believe to be true? What are my beliefs? What are my thoughts? What are my ideas? And can you examine them? Can you put them on paper? Can you look at what you believe? And can you start to actually go through it and be like, okay, I believe this, right? But why do you believe it? Where did that belief come from? Is it actually grounded in reality, or is it something based on fear? And when you start realizing that most of our beliefs and our ideas about who we need to be or how much money we need to make are based on, well, my dad always told me as a kid, da 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 da, or society always said that in order to be, da 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 da, right? So what happens is we're living through that space, and it keeps, it's like, even if it's subconscious, it's in there and it's convincing us that we need to be a certain way and do certain things. Now, the beauty of this concept of first feel free is figuring out what you need to feel free, which again isn't just money and love and all these things, but there's a freeness you can develop within yourself. And to me, it's through the destructive process of the false self. It's through unraveling these false ideals and false layers within ourselves, because then you realize that life is empty and meaningless. And that's actually a beautiful thing, because that means that we create the meaning, right? It's empty in so much that there's nothing that's already there. People hear, oh, life is empty and meaningless, and they're like, oh my God, what do you mean? That's crazy, it's so depressive. And I used to think that too. I had a point in my life where I was very depressed because I felt like life was empty and meaningless. What's the point of living? And then one day it clicked. And I realized, actually that is a beautiful thing, because we can create whatever reality we want when we empty out the tank. I remember one time I was at this seminar and the person was talking about, it's like, imagine you're a goldfish swimming in a fish bowl, and you're swimming around and you poop. You're swimming around more and you poop, and you're swimming around some more and you poop, and you eat some stuff and you poop, and you eat some more stuff and you poop, and suddenly you're swimming around this tank full of crap, and that's like what life is. We have all this crap that's just like swimming around in our brains and our body, and all you can keep trying to eat more and hope that you crap out better food, or you can recognize that it's all crap and you can drain the tank. And that's what I'm talking about, that draining of the crap that's swimming around in your reality that's holding you back from feeling freedom. Do that first, not trying to externally grasp at things. And then what you'll start to see is these new possibilities open up. Then there's suddenly magic. I'm living in a world of magic. Magic exists, and this is a different kind of magic than the Harry Potter magic. It's actually, I would say, more exciting magic. It's like the magic of understanding how your reality works, how to shift it, how to shape it, how to manifest your desires, things that actually are real. Because we can manifest. Manifest isn't even that interesting in a sense, because we're manifesting all the time. And if we're manifesting from fear, or we think like, oh, I really want to manifest my dream house, But if you're not actually satisfied in yourself, sure, you can manifest your house, you can manifest your dream job, but it actually doesn't matter. Because if it's coming from a place of fear and falseness and insecurity, well, guess what? You'll get it, and then you'll be like, oh, damn, I'm still me, and I'm still, And I think about that actually a lot with, virtual reality. People are going into these VR worlds, and they're like, oh, I want to live in this avatar world, and, I can have all my dreams and create my whole digital life. It's like, but it's still you. So maybe it feels good for a bit, but at the same time, like, you can even create your perfect avatar woman in this dream reality, right? But there's still you there. And if you're still insecure and you're still unsure, guess what? That's not going away, right? So it's okay, because we all go through these things. So start to point the finger back at yourself. Look at your beliefs, look at your ideas, and recognize that all these things, they're not real. All these characters that you've been playing throughout your life, you're infinite, you're whole, you are complete, just as you are empty and you are meaningless. And that is the cool thing. Wholeness and completeness and empty and meaninglessness, they're actually the same thing, seen from a non-dualistic reality. When we're living in dualistic reality and there's this and that and good, bad, right, and wrong, we start to try to compartmentalize things. But when you realize that you're the totality of everything and you don't separate but you allow, well, then that's the divine coming through. I hope this helps. Again, if you click on the link below if you want, we do host pretty pretty sweet retreats here called Sacred Rest, where it's just a place to come live with us for a few days and get a chance to just be in this presence and to learn and grow and do your thing. So yeah,